Vusi Matlala is an alleged kingpin for Mamelodi, and right now he is one of the most wanted, the most talked about, and one of the most feared criminals in the country. Vusi's criminal journey began when he was still young, pulling small-time stick-ups, but over the years he climbed the underworld ladder. From a petty hustler to a high-profile crime boss with police generals allegedly on his payroll. Now today, Vusi sits at the top of the food chain. He is believed to be funding political campaigns for powerful politicians, securing protection and influence in return. Now behind the scenes, he has built a web of corrupt police officials and government insiders, using them to manipulate state tenders in his favor, while ensuring the law looks the other way. Now on this episode, we'll look into the controversial life of Vusi Matlala and all the shady people connected to his criminal life. Vusi's criminal trail goes way back. From a young troublemaker, he evolved into a professional stick-up kid. The first record of his arrest dates back to the year 2000. When he was just 24, he was caught in Valeria, Pretoria, for possession of stolen property. That same year, he was arrested again, once for a car break-in and again for a stolen vehicle. But in typical Vusi fashion, all charges were mysteriously withdrawn. His first conviction came in 2001 in Sonneville. It seemed like after that conviction, Vusi graduated from the school of hard knocks because his crimes escalated fast from then on. By 2006, Vusi had moved up to the big leagues. He was arrested in Valwater, Limpopo for a cash in transit robbery, but once again he managed to walk away free. From then until the early 2010s, Vusi became one of the country's most notorious cash van robbers, with a long list of other crimes linked to his name. Then in 2016, Vusi was arrested at Sunshine City Mall after police grew suspicious of a car parked in a basement parking. Now the vehicle had false number plates sitting on top of one another, which was a red flag. Now officers waited for the suspects to return, and when they did, a search revealed 2 R5 rifles, reflective police vests, police caps, a signal jammer, and a police radio. Now Vusi was one of the suspects arrested in that scene, but once again, the case mysteriously was thrown out of court. The same year, Vusi's name surfaced again, but this time in connection with Radovan Krejčíř, the notorious Czech Republic crime boss. He was allegedly working with Kagiso Ledwaba, the man charged with laying down Uwe Gambala on Krejčíř's orders. Gambala wasn't just anyone. He was a world-famous German car tuner, known for his luxury Porsche modifications. Now it's believed that his head was tied to a money laundering deal gone wrong, with Krejčíř allegedly pulling the strings. Now as always, Vusi's charges were quietly withdrawn from the case. Vusi's web of connections doesn't end there. He was also linked to Johannes Mswazi, a notorious cash-in-transit robber. In 2015, both Vusi and Johannes were arrested, together for hijacking and possession of stolen goods. But this wasn't just another case. Police believed they were part of a criminal syndicate suspected of running high-level heists across the country. Now some reports suggest Johannes was part of the Big Five cartel as a soldier. Mswazi was considered a valuable asset to the cartel due to his experience in robberies and tactical hits, but his reign ended in July 2015 when police laid him down along with 5 others during a botched heist in Crown Mines. In the early 2010s, General Shadrack Sibiya was reportedly leading the Hawks teams in efforts to crack down CIT robberies across the country. Now, according to testimonies at the Madlanga Commission, Vusi allegedly met General Sibiya through the late taxi kingpin Mswazi Msibi at Msibi's farm outside Hammanskraal. Now, testimony at the commission painted Mswazi as far more than just a taxi boss. He was said to be a leader of a powerful cartel known as the Firm. Now, this cartel allegedly controlled dope trafficking, CIT robberies, tender frauds, and even operated a deadly hit squad that eliminated anyone who stood in their way. Mswazi was also accused of paying General Sibiya and others for police protection, not just for himself but for his entire network. Now, if Vusi was indeed one of Mswazi's close associates and part of Mswazi's cartel, it's not hard to see why his charges kept disappearing in court. Because a true boss protects his people, not only to shield them from the law, but to safeguard his entire empire and himself. What's crazy is that, despite all the notoriety and the whispers about Mswazi Msibi being the dawn of the cartel, there's barely any record of his criminal life in the mainstream news. That might not be surprising. General Shadrack Sibiya was accused of taking money from criminals to cover up crime scenes and manipulate investigations. Now, these explosive claims were first made by whistleblower Patricia Mashale, who risked everything to expose corruption within the police ranks. Vusi is said to be part of the Tembisa Hospital looting scheme, and his connection to it may have came through Maumela. There seems to be some kind of relationship between the two, though not much is known publicly. What raises eyebrows, however, was a report showing that Morgan was once listed as one of the directors in Vusi's security company before mysteriously being removed just a few months later. Now, why would he be listed as one of the directors in the first place? Unless, of course, Morgan was Vusi's plug in some way, somehow. Now, the one maybe who helped him break into the lucrative VIP protection business. Now, that's just my assumption. Now, when the Tembisa Hospital corruption scandal broke out, we learned that Morgan Maumela was one of the biggest beneficiaries, allegedly pocketing around 800 million rands, just shy of R1 billion. Now, Vusi was reportedly involved in the same scheme, but he didn't strike gold like Morgan did. So after Babita Deokaran uncovered the suspicious payments in the Tembisa Hospital saga and tried to block them, she was assassinated in cold blood. Now, allegedly, one of the suspects arrested in the hit was later laid down to silence him, and the rest of the hitmen were said to have stayed quiet ever since. And yes, there have been arrests in the Babita's case, but the real mastermind remains untouched. Vusi was allegedly dating Tebogo Tobejane and his current wife Tsakane at the same time, without either of them knowing. Though unconfirmed, it's rumored that Tebogo was around Vusi's life during the time of some incidents, possibly when people were taken out on the cat's orders. Some even whisper that the hit of Babita Deokaran could have been part of it, and the girl might have had some things that she shouldn't have had. According to a social media post that was circulating online, around that time, there were rumors about a lawyer friend who was close to both Vusi and Tebogo. Now, the lawyer had reportedly threatened to expose Vusi for tax evasion by going to SARS, but soon after, though not confirmed, that person disappeared. Now, as for Tsakane, she said to despise Tebogo, not just out of jealousy, but for reasons that remain unclear. Now, some claim she wanted Tebogo gone altogether, but no one really knows why. Now, Vusi has deep ties with several gangsters from Pretoria and across the country. He was even spotted with the infamous Prince Mongol on social media posts, a notorious cash-in-transit robber. Now, Mongol made his end in 2022 when he was laid down in Sunnyside, Pretoria. Now, back when the Boko Haram gang was terrorizing Pretoria, extorting locals, pushing dope, and running the streets, a mysterious figure began hunting them down one by one. The media called him John Wick. Now, some months later, rumors were that Vusi might have been behind those hits, but it has never been confirmed. If he took out the gang, he could have seized control of the territory to run dope for the cartel. But like most things around Vusi, nothing was ever proven. Now, Vusi's connections don't end there. He's also said to have been close, maybe even business partners, with Jerry Boshoga, the so-called businessman who was kidnapped from Mamelodi. But as the story unfolds, it's clear there's more to Jerry's disappearance than what the public was told. Now, word on the Madlanga streets is that Jerry is neck deep in the dope trade, and he allegedly owes millions to some dangerous people, including Vusi, who claims Jerry owes him 5 million rands. But when questioned about Jerry's disappearance, he shrugged, pretending to know nothing. Police, however, think otherwise. When they raided Vusi's mansion looking for Jerry, they didn't find him. But they did find something strange. One of the rooms had no curtains, just a white sheet tied to the burglar bars. Now officers noticed the sheet looked identical to the one seen in Jerry's hostage video, where he's shown begging for his life. Same color, same torn edges, tied the same way to the burglar. It was unusual, a mansion with a sheet for a curtain, yet Jerry was never found there. At the Madlanga Commission, new details emerged about Vusi's rise after Mswazi Msibi's death. Now with the Mswazi gone, Vusi allegedly sought police protection and he turned to General Shadrack Sibiya, asking for the same services the old man Mswazi once paid for. According to records, Sibiya not only protected him but also helped him secure the 360 million rands tender. After that, Vusi began paying Sibiya in cash, millions stuffed in duffel bags, just like a drug dealer. It didn't stop there. Vusi reportedly paid off multiple cops for protection, even the police minister. But according to testimony at the commission, he later felt betrayed. The police were happy to take his money, but failed to deliver the protection they promised. Court documents paint a picture of a man with serious power and reach, allegedly with access to a private jet and even a boat in Mauritius. That's why he's now considered a flight risk. But Vusi denied the private jet and boat accusations. Soon, Vusi Matlala is expected to take the stand at the commission. I'm not sure if it's gonna happen, but if it does, many believe he'll drop nuclear revelations that could shake South Africa's power circles to its core.